Welcome to the bold analysis. A storm is brewing in William Ruto's UDA camp from Mount Kenya as the disgruntled members of parliament are holed up in a crisis meeting just as Ruto Raila talks gains momentum. They're asking the tough questions, but of course, the right question at the time. That announcement, or rather that deal, is supposed to shake up the political landscape in the country of really bordering a cabinet shakeup. What exactly is their contention, and why do you think it is time for them to ship out? In this podcast, we'll delve more into this, and we want to understand the context why the MPs are actually crying out. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Mulembe Nation, Kakamega, since Monday. We are supporting these grannies here. We are building 3 houses for these grannies you are seeing here. So 2 are living in that house. The condition of the house, you can see, is also not in a very good shape. But of course, the problem here is one was having her own space, but the house also iliharibika and it became inhabitable. So that is why she was moved there, so that they cohabit with the other granny. But of course, advantage here is she has her space. So what we opted is that we are building this one for huyu abaki because even yake si mzuri, and then there is that other the other granny pia tunaenda kumjengea kwake.
Nisimama.
Ndio tu.
Mimi hakuna nyumba. Mimi nataka kama Mungu nakubali usaidie nijengee nyumba. Naweza shukuru. Kwa maana hakuna uwezo.
I want to say thank you. I really hope and pray that by Friday I will be able to accomplish this mission. House number 1 actually is complete. We are set. The fundis are on site. We bought the mabatis and bought everything that is needed for house number 1. Tomorrow we are on house number 2, and we've done the woods that are needed. We brought in the woods that are needed, and then the only deficit we have to accomplish house number 2 is now 21,000. So I believe by tomorrow, if we can accomplish the whole things needed for house number 2, I'm sending the fundis to this other lady. Now, the other lady you were seeing there was actually their caregiver. She was supporting them, but she's also in need because I can tell you things are also not very stable on her end. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to humbly request you to support this Mulembe Nation, this Kakamega mission. And I believe that we are going to make some good impact. I'll be glad when I go back to Nairobi on Friday, mission accomplished. Apart from the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, several other members of parliament who are actually supporting the president. This including Betty Maina, the Murang'a women rep, the only leader from Murang'a who is standing with President Ruto, and Mwangi Kiunjuri from Laikipia East, Rahab Mukami, the Nyeri women rep, Rukos from Igembe, from Meru, from Embu, Karemba, Alice Ng'ang'a from Thika Town, Dan Madenge, and many others who had been supporting President Ruto are in panic mode. And according to reports, they're holed up in a critical meeting to chart how they're going to navigate their path. They're now going to navigate their way in the looming Ruto Raila deal. This might be too late for them, but if there is a team, if there is a group I can't sympathize with, is this group, because I remember last year I was the only analyst I don't know that, I think I was the only one who stood aground and said that Mount Kenya MPs were making a political blunder in falling on William Ruto's trap to impeach Rigathi Gachagua on those flimsy, fraudulent grounds. And in my opinion, I am, if you ask me, some of this, whatever happened, was money exchange so that they sacrificed Rigathi. And for those who remember, when I did that analysis last year, I used to say that the MPs are actually playing William Ruto's script blindly. It is not in their interest. They were seeing the interest of the president to change his deputy because he feels threatened, but they were oblivious of the fact that that was going to have an effect. And in fact, people said they will forget. Now, this is time for regret. Mount Kenya is finding itself, these MPs are finding themselves on crossroads. What is the matter at hand? I want us to delve into that part. And really, we are going to have a conversation. What is really their input? I understand that the information came out that, of course, a social media group was actually created. And coincidentally, or rather surprisingly, this position, this matter brought together both pro-Rigathi MPs and pro-Ruto MPs. But then the process was initiated by those MPs that are aligned to the President William Samoei Arap Ruto. Things are very hot and people are really in panic. What is the contention? In fact, I can tell you, when I don't sympathize with their panic, but if you look at some of the developments, you will actually understand why a politician in that situation must get worried. Number one, Ruto Raila Talks panel. The Nation reported on Monday that, I think that was on Sunday, that a joint team of representatives from both sides, both from President Ruto and Raila Odinga, were actually holed up in a hotel in Mombasa to craft the finer crystal details of the Ruto-Raila deal that is supposed to be made public sometime. Actually, it was announced this week. Now, in spite of Kithure Kindiki's presence in Mombasa, and I think I analyzed it the day that Joho and Jonet were taking Raila to State House in Mombasa, the presence of Kindiki was to try to forestall an impression that Mount Kenya has been kicked out. But then, the person that represents Raila, Paul Mwangi, yes, he's a Kikuyu, but he's on Raila axis. Kindiki does not have a leg. And these MPs actually are right to be worried that the Mount Kenya is isolated in such a critical negotiation that is going on. You might hate Rigathi, and allow me say this, but I'm very sure if Rigathi was Kithure Kindiki, he would have asked probably one of MPs or a critical leader, ally on Mount Kenya, to be on that table. Whatever is coming out is that Raila and Ruto sent his team. Of course, Ruto can play games by getting few Kikuyu names but are aligned to him to be in that table. And they are really missing it. Remember, when I've seen a video of someone hyping the way Raila and Ruto are working together, and so they're going to win the next election, who can defeat them? Now, when you look at, just look at that video. When you look at these videos, you'll actually understand, you cannot deny the fact that something is cooking between Ruto and Raila Odinga. And these MPs are asking. Remember, as we talk, ODM is demanding that any deal that is going to be signed now must have a bearing until 2027. So if they support you now, they will demand the deputy president slot. The only thread of hope that pro-Ruto's GEMA MPs are clinging on to defend their seat in 2027 is if the President of the Republic of Kenya is going to pick Kithure Kindiki as his running mate in 2027. But tomorrow, I will tell you why Kindiki is not on William Ruto's 2027 card. That is the only thing they're depending on. Now, that is the only card that can help them fight Rigathi Gachagua. If Rigathi makes a coalition the other side, and he manages, probably he doesn't make it in the ticket, or no Kikuyu makes it in the ticket, these MPs are hoping that in that event, the president will try to convince Raila access so that the deputy president slot remains in Mount Kenya. But as things stand, that is not in it. And I think this is a matter that is there. And they're very right, because let me tell you, Raila and the team is a group of vultures. If you look at the way they talk, if you look at the way Judet, the way the Kalumas talk, but these people have reached heaven, I'm telling you. And they've gotten there with their heads. And I'm wondering, even before, the GEMA community used to have a huge number in government. They've been in government for long. I never saw them bragging, saying, it is our time to eat. But Ministry 2, Tatu, the whole thing has changed. Anyway. The meeting that Raila Deal held with Uhuru Kenyatta in Mombasa, and the scripted, choreographed attacks that Raila is now making on William Ruto, I choose to associate with those who are saying that it is part of bargaining, increasing his bargain in that table. The other contentious point is the 50% cabinet share. This story came out that the team are talking about 50% cabinet share. And this is also merged, this is also coming with the parliamentary group realignments. There was the Senate successfully, they managed to do a coup. ODM managed to do the coup to chase Rigathi Gachagua senators from some strategic committee. But the same is supposed to happen in the National Assembly. There is a deadlock, a stalemate. It cannot, in spite of Ruto and Raila meeting, it has not become still easy even to unlock that deadlock. It is not still possible for the team. And if 50% of cabinet is going to be given on Raila access, many careers are going to be on the chopping board. Of course, one credit I give for Raila is the fact that if he takes half of that cabinet, he will, of course, give preference to the people around him. But kidogo atajaribu atafute someone from Coast, atajaribu atafute someone from Western, Luo, kidogo he will try. But all in all, that kind of agreement is going to affect political careers of people. And remember, there is even a reshuffling that is expected on principal secretaries. So many other factors are on stake. ODM on that table alone are over demanding. I can tell you that. Then the matter is president's resistance, hesitance on touring Mount Kenya 5 months after Rigathi Gachagua impeachment. All the trips, the only time the president went to Mount Kenya, he attended that event in Embu, and he was called. In December, there was a planned trip to a church in Meru. It was cancelled. Then he went to another, he was again supposed to go to Nyeri. That was also cancelled. Another small bad, one of our analysts, our very good subscribers, he was telling me, the reason why Ruto is giving a lot of money in the churches is because he knows that is the trap that he used in 2022. And some pastors some clergy from Mount Kenya would want to reincarnate those moments. So the moment wamesikia Pastor Mwai in that church in Roysambu has been given 20 million, they will open their doors and will now start knocking for president to grace their church, to attend their church services. So that was part of the trap. But these MPs need to really look at it. All trips have been cancelled. Even when the Kafogos and Kagwe and they were picked and they were given cabinet slots, The understanding was that the president would organize and use that more euphoria to get to Mount Kenya. But even that collapsed, even that failed. So he didn't go. Probably they were expecting momentum. They saw the way people reacted, and people said, oh, I'm in the cabinet peke yao. And the president realized, no, I don't want to go to Mount Kenya and find another heckling audience. So he didn't go there. So all matters, all the other factors failed. And I've always said this. I've always believed this. Someone told William Samoei Arap Ruto that when you impeach Rigathi Gachagua and he goes home and you deny him the state machinery and the state resources, you shall have completely finished him. But that same person probably did not warn him that since the 2010 constitution, we've never impeached a deputy president, so that was the first time. And since 2010, the presidential ticket was the deputy and the president are joined at the hip. And it's normally a tight ticket. Since 2013, that ticket always takes the shape of tribe A versus tribe B. So when you drop the deputy, it is not like the days Kibaki used to do it, the days of Kibaki and Moi, where you wake up in the morning and you hear in the radio that have been dropped and you're no longer a vice president. So I think they didn't have a post-Rigathi impeachment plan. It was just simplistic, probably, and I thought that was just hatched when people are in some bars saying, wewe tukishamfukuza story yake imeisha. And they said that, but they didn't see the finer details. And they're in this sort of quagmire because the kind of revolt, the kind of grip that Rigathi has amassed after that impeachment is not something they really had thought of. The other issue is the UDA ANC merger with the party ranks. Rigathi is launching a new party in May. UDA is yet even to hold a grassroots election in Mount Kenya. In fact, there is no single UDA event, UDA as a party, that has been held in Mount Kenya. It lacks visibility. Rigathi's party is actually taking over the mountain. With all this, you must get worried. Someone asked me, Kevin, the MPs are staging a boycott. But the Sunday when they were supposed to be in State House, when the president was attending a church service in Roysambu, quite a number were invited, but many of them did not skip that event, and they're avoiding president's event. The complaints about even access nowadays, unlike in the past where they could easily access the president, now all that seemed to have changed. The moment these MPs decided to receive bribes to impeach Rigathi, that was the start of that. But they must smell the coffee and run away very fast. They must smell the coffee because Ruto is under capture and is working on borrowed time. He's working on borrowed time. I'm one analyst who I agree it is not easy to remove a president on one term. But I also reconcile with the fact that with a solid candidate, the only problem is who is this candidate? With a solid candidate with an alternative solution to the things that Kenya Kwanza is doing, the country for the first time can break the record and give the president 5 years. Global economies are doing it, and it's a trend. We are a country of record. The country can think of, wait, come on, let's give them 5 years, not 10. Let them not get accustomed to 10. And for me, the reason why I want the president to get one term is it is going to send a lesson to the political elite. Na mtu atajua mimi nisipofanya kazi nitatolewa. And I can tell you, when you set that precedence with the Kenya Kwanza regime, the next person who is going to be in that office, in fact, through that, tutakuwa tume manage quite a number of things. Ruto is only interested in 2027 election and how he can become the president. What happens after that will sort itself. So, yes, he's not coming to Mount Kenya. But then he's spending time and millions and all resources to pick Raila Odinga on his side. I want to ask you, do you think Raila Odinga can help an MP from Mount Kenya to get votes? But Raila Odinga can help William Ruto to get votes from Western and some few Nyanza counties. So you can look at the bigger picture, but if you don't smell the coffee, go and work for your people. President is only interested on how he can get his second term. As to whether he's going to have the majority in parliament is a story for another day. Whichever party that will have the majority will have no option. He will buy them and form a majority and run government. Because even this one, he didn't have the majority. The other one, Ruto's system either seemed to have collapsed or have failed deliberately. And because of that, the call to change regime is bulging. Liberation voice is bulging. As the country heads to 2027, it is increasingly becoming difficult to defend President Ruto. Even himself is struggling to do it. He's struggling to defend himself. So if you don't smell the coffee, I'm telling you it will be too late. Thank you.